You're listening to WSTU Stewart.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
In a world of summer repeats, we're live, or as live as you can possibly be, with 100-degree temperature outside. And it's Startup Talk with Tom Kindred.
We are indeed live. You are correct. We are one of the few live shows in a summer of repeats. I like that. Welcome to another segment and installment of Startup Talk, the show designed to assist and help Treasure and Research Coast residents who want to start, grow, or accelerate their business. As I always say, what a great place it is to own and operate a business along the beautiful Research and Treasure Coast. We will spend time during our hour together this evening to highlight and create awareness regarding the very powerful and robust business assistance and support programs that exist right here in our community at our very own Indian River State College. I am Tom Kindred. I serve the college and the community as the Regional Director for the Florida SBDC at IRSC. Our show, as always, this evening is underwritten by the Florida Small Business Development Center here at Indian River State College and our friends at Express Printing of Port St. Lucie. So good evening, Greg. We are here live at the WPSL studios. It's always nice to be here on Thursday evenings. Everything all right in your world this evening?
We are. We're doing fine. Yeah, it's getting crazy.
Yeah,
it's going to get crazier for you next week. Huh?
It is, and that's what we're gonna start with. We have a couple great guests tonight. I had the opportunity to be at a presentation by one of our guests this evening, Miss Barbara Ann Cookson. She is the superhero employee motivating presenter that gave an incredible presentation at the this year's annual Florida SBDC conference down in Fort Lauderdale this year. So Barbara is going to be a guest and talk to us about turbocharging your employees and decreasing the.
We can charge our employees now.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, turbocharge.
You can turbocharge them. That's right.
I'm a little on the slow side.
But Barbara's a great speaker, and I'm looking forward to talking to Barbara this evening. But first, I want to start tonight's show. We've got some repeat guests with us, but I do want to spend just a few minutes up front here talking a little bit about next week. We've got another Pioneer Pitch Panel event coming up next week, our version of Shark Tank. I tell folks all the time that one of my favorite reality shows on TV is Shark Tank because that's really the way it works. So if you come out and attend one of our Shark Tank events, you're going to see that's exactly the way our local entrepreneurs do it. But we are having a Shark Tank event next Thursday evening, July the 19th at 5:30 p.m. We've never done one at the Blackburn campus, but we are doing one now.
Right down the street here.
Right down the street. Dean Hawkins, who is the dean over at the Blackburn Center, has allowed us to come into the building on Thursday evening next week and hold one of our Shark Tank events, and they're always a lot of fun. And I like to tell people that it is a lot of fun to come out and watch our entrepreneurs pitch their products and pitch their ideas. For us out in the audience, it's entertaining and it's fun. But for our entrepreneurs, they're dead serious about what they're doing. These are products and business ideas and that they've worked on sometimes for years. They have some of them have a lot of money invested in these ideas. So for the folks and the entrepreneurs that give the pitches that night, it's pretty serious business. We have a panel of experienced entrepreneurs and business people that will give feedback to those entrepreneurs that are pitching their products. So again, it's a great business activity. But it is a lot of fun. And tonight I've got in the studio with me, I've got Will Roberts and Carol Alberts. Welcome to the show tonight, guys.
Good evening.
Hello, Tom.
Yep. And Will and Carol have years of experience in the restaurant business and and they have years of experience in the coffee business. But Will and Carol have launched a new product, a cold brew coffee that they're brewing. They are members of the Indian River State College Pioneer Business Incubation Program. They are actually situated in the Brown Center on main campus, and they are.
Do you get free coffee?
We absolutely do get free coffee, and
that stuff is awesome.
It's funny you mentioned that because I heard Connie. I saw Connie kind of running around pretty quickly. Connie Gifford, who works with the CCTI, she was running around kind of quickly today. I said, "Gosh, what's going on?" She said, "I had some of that cold brew."
Yeah.
And I'm moving today, so it's good stuff. But I'll let Will kind of speak to the caffeine level and his cold brew. But I can tell you that cold brew coffee is a market changer in the coffee business, and we're just excited to be working with Will and Carol on their new product. So real quickly, kind of give us a quick background on both of you. Kind of you've got some entrepreneurial and business background. So talk a little bit about that real quick.
Okay, I'll start.
You start, Carol.
Longtime county employee, and who ended up in the restaurant business. With no experience, and in 4 years we turned a failing coffee shop into a downtown destination that served wine and beer and healthy sandwiches and all kinds of coffee drinks that we had so much fun making. And when so we moved on from there.
Nice.
Had a restaurant in St. Croix for a year, and then came back to Florida, and looking at cold brew now.
Nice.
You left St. Croix?
I know. Why?
What?
I know.
Well, this
Grandbabies
is sort of
will
like
do
a St.
that.
Croix.
Oh, grandbaby, you know.
Yeah, grandbabies will definitely
You hit
do
it
that.
on the head there. Okay. That'll do it. Yeah.
So now, Will, talk a little bit about how'd you find your way to cold brew coffee?
Well, I'm a beer drinker from way back. That could be held against me in a court of law, I'm sure. Really, that's where it come from. You see cold brew in a lot of establishments, especially breweries. It's just a good companion for those. A lot of times, the last drink of the night doesn't need to be another drink. It needs to be something to get you home. Cold brew is a great thing because it does have more caffeine. It kind of gets you pumped up and ready for that drive.
Cool.
And you don't have to have that last one.
What is cold brew? Kind of explain, because I think people, a lot of people when we talk cold brew, they think iced coffee. Totally different product, right?
Oh, it is. Iced coffee is basically you brew traditional hot coffee, and then you chill it. You put it in a container, put it in your fridge. Cold brew has no heat involved. It's kind of a misnomer. You think it's not hot. It's not necessarily cold. It's done at room temperature. You steep it for 18 hours, and the steeping process gives you the full flavor of the bean without releasing the oils, which gives you your bitterness and that weird texture you get on your teeth. Some people say, I need to brush my teeth after my cup of coffee goes cold. With cold brew, you don't have the offensive end of the coffee.
Right. And cold brew now, this is, you've done a lot of market research on cold brew. I mean, this is kind of the new player in the entire coffee business. I mean, cold brew's really taken off. We talked about it the other day. If you go look at the shelves now in Publix, a lot of shelf space being dedicated to cold brew coffee.
Well, we can actually put a number to that. It's $2 billion industry.
Wow.
Right
That's
now.
with a B. $2
By
billion.
2023, $2.64 billion is projected for 2023. Wow. So it's definitely a growing industry.
So now you are participating within the Indian River State College Pioneer Business Incubation Program, a program designed to help startups, early stage firms like yourself, provide all kinds of resources, consulting with the SBDC, helping with business plans, creating pro forma, so all kinds of support and help. But one of the fun activities that's involved in the incubator is when you guys get to go out and kind of give pitches and presentations and get that feedback. And next week, you'll be one of those that's given a pitch at our Pioneer Pitch Panel event, which is a Shark Tank-like event. Talk a little bit about your participation in the Shark Tanks and what's it like to get up and give the presentation.
is actually really neat because you never know. It doesn't matter your audience age, because we've done this event several times. Some of high school students, and we've gone up to a very diverse college crowd. And with that, you never know who you're talking with. So you can't let your guard down. Each event that we've done basically go through what we've done as our stages as building this business. They always come back with different comments, and we've learned some really unique stuff, all the way down to the vessel that we sell it in. We were with a group of high school senior students, and we serve it currently in a beer bottle with cold brew labeled.
I'll bet they asked about plastic.
Well, actually, Mom won't buy me that in a beer bottle.
Oh.
So,
so
we've learned some
I never even
valuable.
thought about that.
Yeah, exactly. Valuable research, and then there are several panelists that have got a lot of experience in this, probably more money than us. But they have really been able to go, hey, you need to maybe look at this portion of your business and grow it before you really think about this port. And that's really been nice. Kind of gives us a little more direction, and it's wonderful having a space to work from, and then the Brown Center, because it is a beautiful building.
Carol, you've also participated in the pitch events. Talk a little bit about, why is this important that entrepreneurs get out, pitch this idea multiple times? It's something that we kind of teach in incubation, but kind of talk about your experiences with that. Why is it important?
Well, it's really important to know your product and be able to promote your product in a cohesive and coherent way, and the experience with the pitches help us develop that pitch and be able to promote our product. So it
Right.
gives us the opportunity to practice that in front of a live audience.
And it's one of the things that we begin, especially with incubator clients. It's kind of that first step. It basically answers some of those very basic questions about your business. Who are we? How are we structured? How are we going to make money? What's the secret sauce in our business? That's kind of what you do in your pitch. It's a quick way to kind of describe. The word pitch it comes from elevator pitch, meaning you kind of got to be able to give this. In the ride in an elevator, if somebody says, "Hey, what do you guys do?" It's your quick response to what you're doing and tells your story pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain to somebody what you're trying to sell in the space of going from floor 1 to floor 4?
That's right. Well, in the Brown Center, you got to do it even faster than that. It's
3
only
floors.
1 to 3.
Well, I have found at the Brown Center that if you serve everybody in the building cold brew, there's a lot more productivity, and they listen more.
Right.
The pitch it's kind of like a verbal business plan in a way.
Absolutely. It's kind of a short version of your business plan, but it gives you the ability to kind of tell your story quickly. Mm-hmm. And again, I think one of the important aspects and why we promote this and why we do this event is that feedback. And you talked about that, Will. I mean, like you said, you've pitched to everyone from high school. You've been in front of market research classes at the college, and I'm quite impressed with really the engagement of the students. I mean, were you kind of a little surprised by the kind of engagement you got from the students and the questions?
Oh, definitely. I think in a way they were a little more engaged because they're high school. They don't care. I mean, they're just like, hey, by the way, I'll never be able to drink that. It's great.
Right.
You need to change your bottle. And they had a lot of great ideas because, we are older. We're older. So, cold brew is definitely something that's going to hit all genres, not just my age demographic. So that actually helped to give us an insight, because my son's grown.
Right.
So.
Well, and I think, again, when starting a new business, you really do have to. You've got to maybe cross some age groups. You've got the millennials out there now. You've got some middle-aged folks. You've got the Gen X. I mean, there's this is kind of. I know my son, 20-year-old. He drinks cold brew coffee. I'd never heard of it until you came into the incubator. Really didn't really understand what cold brew was. I was one of those that thought cold brew was iced coffee.
Yep. Nope. It's a completely different animal, and much smoother drink.
You know, Dr. Massey's listening.
He is.
He's going to make the cold brew mandatory for all employees on all of the campuses.
Right.
You know,
Well,
that's going to happen.
I have the capabilities.
Yeah, talk. Where can somebody get your cold brew product now? Where could somebody get it?
Well, currently we're being served on tap at Walking Tree Brewery. It's on tap at Casa de Este in Vero on the beach. Mash Monkeys in Sebastian, newer brewery has come in. Roasted Records in Stuart, Florida. They serve on tap. Pierce Cider, new cidery in Fort Pierce. They're carrying the bottles.
Where is that?
Now that's where Sailfish's start-out location, over on Avenue.
Around the corner from
Well, it's
Avenue
on
D,
Second Street, right
Second
over
Street.
Tickle Tummy Hill there.
Right. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
So that's where it is.
The original. Okay, I'm
the
thinking. wait a
original
minute.
Sailfish.
Second Street. Okay.
And it's a beautiful place. And he's got, well, this week, he'll actually have a new variety. So I've got cold brew aged on applewood that will be available there.
Ooh.
Just a little teaser.
Now, real quick, before we mention one more time, you're going to have samples next Thursday night at the Shark Tank event?
I can do that.
All right, I like that.
I have the
idea.
power.
For the judges.
For the judges,
Yeah.
those working the event, those
That's
yes,
right.
the panel, yes.
Some bottles to take home
right.
in their pocket. Yeah.
Listen, guys, you're doing a great job, and I appreciate all that you're doing in the incubator. You're textbook incubator clients. You're smart. You're savvy business people. You're working it. You're out there promoting your product, and we appreciate you working as hard as you do. With all that you're doing with your business, and again, pitching is so important, and we appreciate you always being one of those that'll jump in and come out and give the pitch. So again, want everyone to remember next Thursday night, the 19th, 5:30 in the evening, we are going to conduct one of our Pioneer Pitch Panel events at the Blackburn Educational Building. On Avenue D in Fort Pierce. We're going to be up on the second floor in room 214. We'll get started about 5:30. We'll have a little have a few things to drink and eat to get started, and then we'll start the presentations promptly about 6 o'clock. Pitches don't take too long, so it's not.
How long is the pitch? Approximately.
Well, pitch should only be 3 to 5 minutes. So. And Will's good. He's got his down. So
Maybe that's why the judges were sleeping. I did 2 hours.
No, pitches are fast. They're you get in, you get out. What we always try to teach incubator folks is that pitching is really more about listening than it is talking. You're going to get some great feedback from the experience of the entrepreneurs and the business people on the panel. So it's good to get in and give your pitch, but then kind of listen to that Q&A like Will says. You get a lot of interesting ideas come out of that. So again, if you want to register to come to the event, there's no charge to come to the event. You can visit that IRSCbiz.com site, click on the events calendar, and it's right there, an event. You can register, and that way we know you're coming. But that's next Thursday night, the 19th, at 5:30 at the Blackburn Center on Avenue D here in Fort Pierce. Carol and Will, thanks for dropping by tonight to help us talk a little bit about next week's Shark Tank event, and we will see you next Thursday evening. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
See you Thursday, guys. Oh, yeah.
See you Thursday.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
You
Have a
bet.
great evening.
All right, with that, we're going to continue, and I'm telling you, we got a dynamic guest here with us this evening. It is Barbara Ann Cookson. Barbara, you with us?
I'm here, Tom.
Listen, Barbara, I really appreciate you taking time out. I think, I'm now maybe I figured out where you got all your energy and enthusiasm. Are you a cold brew coffee drinker,
You know
Barbara?
what? I was just listening to that segment, and I got to tell you, I love coffee, and I have never tried cold brew coffee, but I'm going to find some.
You got to find some cold brew. It is the next big thing in coffee, and we've got one of the premier brewers in our incubator program right here at Indian River State College, Carol Alberts and Will Roberts, and they're making a great variety of cold brew. And
I wish I was closer. I'd come try it out.
Well, that's right. I wish you were close. You'd come to the Shark Tank next week, and we could let you be a presenter. But Barbara is a dynamic a speaker. She works in the area of employee engagement, and I was privileged to be part of a presentation that Barbara gave a number of weeks ago at the annual Florida SBDC conference down in Lauderdale. And of course, I couldn't wait for the presentation to end, because I couldn't wait to go over and say, Barbara, you got to be on the radio show. We got to talk about what you do. So, Barbara, I do appreciate you joining us this evening.
Oh, thank you so much. This is going to be fun. I'm really happy to be here.
So let me talk just a second here about Barbara. Barbara is a holistic health coach. She mentors individuals in getting healthy, staying healthy, and being happy. She helps to guide her clients so they reach and achieve their personal and professional superhero goals. And we'll talk about that superhero concept in a minute. There are many facets to coaching. Every person is different, and every coaching relationship is different. Her program is customized to an individual's needs and communication style, always adhering to the superhero principles she teaches. Her biggest passion is speaking, and that's easy to see if you ever get a chance to hear her speak. She started speaking professionally back in 2012 and now presents keynote addresses at conferences around the country. Her messages are always empowering and focusing on waking up that inner superhero inside all of us, Greg. Did you know you had a superhero inside you, Greg?
No, definitely not.
Well, you're going to find out tonight. You've got one inside of you.
Really? Oh.
Barbara loves to teach workshops, lead seminars, and retreats. The impact she feels she can make with people, teaching the principles and practices to unleash that inner superhero, have really become her purpose in life. She is so grateful to be doing the work she does, and again, that's obvious when you see her and meet her. She loves her audiences and the interactions she has with them. So again, Barbara, very impressive presentation you gave at the conference, and we appreciate again you joining us tonight. So
thank you.
Let's start real quickly. I gave some background on you, some high level stuff, but kind of talk about your current occupation and what you're doing as a presenter, and how you help take those businesses really to the next level.
Yeah, it's what I'm doing is, you're right, it is my passion, and I absolutely love speaking to groups. I speak to groups, small groups right up to large conferences like yours, and the group energy when I'm speaking is what fuels me. It's just amazing, and being able to help individual employees and employers and organizations to find their inner power and bring that to their work and to their business and to their companies is just mind-blowing. And to see people's eyes light up and to hear their stories at the end of my presentations it just keeps me going for weeks.
Well, I was there. I saw it. Now, again, I had the opportunity to hear you speak and participate in your presentation. Obviously, your presentation, energy-filled, uplifting. I mean, where does this kind of passion come from? Where did you get all this passion to kind of talk about bringing out that inner superhero in people?
I think it comes from, it's grown over the years, I think, from personal coaching clients that I've had. And I'm a certified health coach. I was a certified health coach before I started speaking, and that's kind of how I got into speaking. I was asked by several of my clients to start speaking at their businesses and at their conferences and organizations about health and wellness, and because they knew that I was a health coach. And the passion, I think, comes from that one-on-one that I've had with coaching clients. And then when I moved into speaking and I could speak to audiences and see that that energy and that connection that I had with each individual client was exponential when I got in front of an audience, and just the passion that I get back from them. And when I can make that connection with them and get that spark in them, it grows my passion, 100% every
you
time.
can tell the enthusiasm in her
Yes,
voice.
I know.
It's,
Yes.
yeah.
And this is low key. I think she had us up, running around in the ballroom. And you talked when you started. You talked about. I think you talked about your father kind of being your hero. And
Absolutely.
And, talk a little bit about that and the inspiration you kind of got from your father.
Yeah, my dad. We lost my dad 10 years ago this year, and he had many, many, many health issues. Just everything you can possibly think of. But he was the most positive, strongest, least negative, down kind of person you'd ever meet. As much pain as he was in, and as much negative stuff that he dealt with his health, he never had a bad day. And if he did, you didn't know it. He was always upbeat, always positive. He always said, there's someone else worse off than me. I don't have a right to be down. And I just picked that up from him. And seeing his health issues and what he went through is kind of what guided me in the path of becoming a health coach for people. He continues to fuel me and my passion in my business and in my speaking. I still talk to him all the time.
That's good.
And he definitely was a superhero to everyone who knew him.
Well, good.
And,
Now you do, this is radio. So of course, even radio's gotten advanced to the point now where we broadcast this show via YouTube. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, we don't have you in the studio with us this evening. But you, during your presentation, you have a very unique presentation style. You wear a certain outfit. Talk a little bit about this whole. Talk a little bit about this whole outfit that you wear and how you give these presentations, because it is off the chart unique, Barbara.
And that's kind of what I was going for.
Well, you achieved it, Barbara, so talk to us about it.
So I wear a superhero suit. It's a superhero costume, right. Head to toe.
I mean, if for our radio listeners, is somewhat like you sort of resemble Wonder Woman up on the stage.
Kind of, yeah. And bright red, shiny metallic, the whole thing. And that sort of came about by accident. About 4 or 5 years ago, I was asked to keynote a women's conference. And their theme for their annual conference that year was Unleash Your Inner Superhero. And they contacted me, and I said, yeah, my keynote is perfect for that. And as we were talking and building what they wanted for their program, I started thinking, what if we went all out and I wear the suit? Right. And I called her, and I said, what do you think of this? And she said, oh, my God, I love it. She said, we wanted to ask you, but we didn't dare. And so I said, well, listen, let me get a suit, and we'll do the whole thing. It'll be the same presentation, but we'll do it in a suit. And it went over. They loved it. They absolutely loved it. The women at the conference loved it. And from there, I was asked to do some retreats and some other conferences, and it just sort of snowballed. And now when I get calls, actually when your people down in Florida called from the SBDC, our initial phone call, she said, oh, my gosh, you're going to wear the suit, right?
Oh, no.
And I said, do you want the suit? And she said, oh, yeah, we want the whole package. Yeah. So it's kind of snowballed, and it seems to help. It's a fun thing to do. It just makes the whole atmosphere more fun. I mean, I could give that talk, and you were there. I could give the same talk in a business suit attire, it wouldn't be the same.
No, it would definitely not be the same.
It wouldn't be the same.
What, real quickly, while we're on this, give us your website address, so people could actually go to the website and see you decked out. So give us that website.
It's thesuperherospeaker.com.
thesuperherospeaker.com.
Okay, cool.
Got to go to that site and check it out. Now,
So do you have YouTube videos of you in the suit?
I have YouTube videos, but not in the suit.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. You got to do that.
If you go to my website, when you open up the website, the very top in the front is a 3-minute video of me in the suit.
There you go. There you go.
So, while you have some fun with this, and while we as an audience had some fun with you in the suit, obviously there's a serious message behind what you do. And again, the message really is about employee engagement. Getting employees engaged, and we've had a number of guests on this show because this is a big issue today. There's some surveys out there. There's a Gallup survey that specifically addresses employee engagement, and there's some pretty scary numbers in this employee engagement survey where not a lot of employees are fully engaged anymore in what they're doing with work. So what is the current state of employee engagement, and what are some of the problems in the workplace today?
Yeah, well, for me, employee engagement means when all the members of an organization are bringing their best selves to work. And that means the employees and the employers. And the problem, I think, is employees and employers, small business owners too. There is so much stress and so much overwhelm, and people are bringing that stress to work. Business owners are stressed out with all kinds of issues. But it means to get the employers and the employees energized and excited to be part of a team. And for employers and business owners, it means fostering that environment of appreciation and positivity. I got to tell you, years and years ago, 30 years ago, I worked in healthcare, and I was in dentistry. And I remember the very best job I had and the best work environment that I had. I didn't make the most money, but the boss that I had, every single day, without question, at the end of the day when I left, and this went for every employee in that business, my boss, the owner of the business, stopped me on the way out and thanked me for the work that I did that day and told me how much he appreciated me and he couldn't do it without me every day.
Yep.
And I would have worked for him for nothing. If he had come to me and said, I can't pay you this week, I still need you, but I can't pay, I would have done it.
You can come down here and work for nothing. You're hired.
Yeah.
Because I felt appreciated, and it was genuine, and it was authentic. It wasn't just talk.
Well, there's we again just recently had some folks on talking about employees and the stress and work-life balance, and that's become a pretty big issue again in the world of human resources today. But one of them made a comment, and I really had never heard this comment, but the comment was that people leave bosses, they don't leave jobs. Yeah. And I really had never heard that before.
I heard that on CBS News the other night.
Yeah, I mean it it really does make a difference, I think, when even like you say, the employer is engaged and doing the right things.
Absolutely. And employers of small businesses, they are so stressed. And I think communication between employees and employers has broken down. We need to get back to, I think, being a team and being a cohesive group working towards a common goal with common values. And I think that's where employee engagement has broken down. Right. If you look at companies like Google, the things that they provide for their employees to keep them happy at work has made their business so successful. so many small businesses and even large corporations are incorporating now wellness departments and wellness programs.
Right.
I think it might be a better idea to have a happiness department and a happiness program. I've heard from so many employees of different businesses across the board that, yeah, they have a wellness program, but it's basically on paper, and they get points for certain things they do, and they might get a little discount on their insurance if they can prove they haven't been smoking
Right.
and they walk every day. But there's no real active engagement
Right.
in their wellness program.
Now
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I was reading on CNBC the other day that it's like, you'll know the car rental company. It's
Right.
colors are black and yellow. But anyway, they have a 3% approval rating with employees.
Yeah,
Wow.
wow.
It's
Wow.
like, I read that, I'm going, oh my goodness.
I don't
Yeah,
think
they're in trouble.
I don't think I'd take any more surveys for a
Whoa.
while.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, it was
Wow.
brutal.
Now you talk about you use the term turbocharging the team, and
Yeah.
that's one of those catchphrases, and it sounds real great on paper, but if people really take seriously, employers take seriously, and team leaders, supervisors take seriously the concept of really kind of turbocharging the team. I mean, there really is. The real numbers are out there, and the data shows and proves it that if you can really get your team engaged and excited, it can have a big positive effect on the bottom line of the business. Is that a fair
huge.
statement? Yeah.
Absolutely fair statement. One study even found that happy employees can be up to 20% more productive than unhappy employees. And salespeople, for people who work in sales, it's an even higher percentage.
Wow.
If they're happier at work, they're more productive.
Okay.
And
Well, let's talk about you. You talk about you went through a couple of exercises with us at the conference, and
Yep.
and I want to kind of go through these. There's you call them one's 8 superpowers.
yes.
So kind of take us through those 8 superpowers. Give us
Sure.
a little definition of each.
Sure. The first one, of course, is engagement. And to me, that means being actively engaged in your work. And when I say actively engaged, I mean focused. We're very distracted by a lot of different things: stress at work, stress at home, stress in families. We're overworked and overwhelmed. Focus and engagement in your job, for one thing. That's kind of self-explanatory. Presence isn't enough. You can be present at work, but you
Right.
need to be actively engaged.
Right.
The next one is awareness, and that's a huge topic we could talk for days on. But awareness means being aware of your energy that you bring to your work and that you're putting out to the world, being aware of your own personal language to yourself and to the others around you, whether it's positive or negative. So the third one, engagement, awareness, willingness, being willing to do the work you need to do, but also being willing to let the others around you do their jobs as well. Don't be a person or a boss who tries to do it all. Being open is the next power, openness, being open to every possibility that arises to you. Being confident is the next power, confidence. And when you were mentioning earlier about the standing like a superhero and looking like a superhero,
Right.
you can imagine that, and you can take that pose and actually build your confidence. Then the next one, really important, is kindness. Be kind. Be kind to each other at work. Be kind to your boss, and let your boss be kind to you.
Yeah,
Be
that one may
kind.
be a little lost. That one may be the most difficult to go back and kind of resurrect. But
Did it? Yeah. Kindness is key. Kindness is key. And when you're kind to others, you feel better. You feel better about yourself.
right.
And when someone is kind to you, of course, you feel great. And the last one, but the last two, believe. Believe in yourself. Believe in your business. Believe in your goals. Believe in your direction. and believe in yourself and your abilities. And the last one is love, and that's the overriding superhero power above all powers is love. We need to be love and raise that and put that out into the world.
So again, this is kind of your step-by-step process that you kind of take folks through when you're working with a business and training the employees. I mean, this is kind of your 8 steps that you want the employees and the employer and team members to kind of look inside and say, these are things I have control over. One of the concepts we teach in entrepreneurship is we have a principle called the principles of effectuation, and one of those is focus on that which you can control. There's so much we can't control. So you're really saying here are 8 things, 8 powers within you that you can control. Is
Absolutely, that you can control, and I love that. That's the Serenity Prayer. If you're familiar with the Serenity Prayer, that's basically says, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's so important. And choice. Everything is a choice, and all those powers we can choose to use them or not.
And that's one of the concepts that we teach through a program. We call them the 8 life lessons for unlikely entrepreneurs. And the first lesson that we teach young entrepreneurs is the power to choose.
Yes.
You do have the power to choose. You have the power to choose, how much time you're going to spend on your project. You have the power to choose, who you're going to hang out with. And so so really you have the power to choose with your 8 superpowers. You've got the power to choose, to use those powers and to do the right thing.
Right. And we all have those powers. We've just forgotten. We've forgotten they're there, and we don't choose to utilize them.
Now, you gave us one of the concepts I love that you presented was you talked about the concept of life is a pie that we bake ourselves.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. I love that. It kind of goes along with the concept of, you make your own luck and, that. But I loved it. Life is a pie that we bake ourselves. And you talk about the 5 techniques in that. So talk a little bit about that concept and your principles behind that.
Yeah, the exercise that I gave you, and if any of your listeners would like to have that exercise, they can shoot me an email. I'll send it out to them. I have it on my computer.
Yes. My problem with the whole pie I baked myself was I messed my pie up so bad. I don't know. I'm hoping I get a chance to make another pie.
You have another chance every day.
Oh, I do? All right, good.
Absolutely. And the exercise is great. It's a visual exercise on paper that it's in the shape of a pie, and you basically plot your slices of pie in different areas of your life, say your career, your relationships, your work life, your education, your movement and exercise practice, all those areas of your pie, with the whole idea being that each slice, the fuller that slice is, the juicier and happier your life pie will turn out. So you just plot in this chart where you are, and then it gives you a visual of where you need to work. And then you go back to the 8 powers, and you look at those and apply those powers to each one of your slices to see where you need to work, where you need to improve, and it's really eye-opening. It's really eye-opening.
Yeah. And kind of your pie concept is all about what you talk about, kind of the happiness level.
Absolutely.
And again, it makes sense. It's common sense why one needs to be happy, but kind of, define that term. I mean, does happy just mean, being upbeat, or does happy mean being really, truly satisfied with what you're doing in your work? I mean,
both of those. Yeah. Both of those. And I'll tell you, people are happy about different things, and different things make different people happy. So I had the conversation one time with someone about golf. And I had a friend who absolutely loves golf, and the one thing that makes him happy is to be playing golf. Well, I got to tell you, I hate golf.
I have a love-hate relationship with golf. Yeah, I love it too, but yes.
It doesn't make me happy.
Yes, it does not make me happy either.
Yeah, but it made him very happy. So that's an illustration just to show you there are different things that make different people happy. But when I talk about happiness, I'm not talking about specific things like that. It's more the feeling that people have of happiness, and some tips to feel that. One of the very first things that I always tell my personal coaching clients is to get a gratitude journal and start writing down 3 things every day that you're grateful for. And just that feeling of gratitude will eliminate some of the stress in your life, because when you're feeling grateful for the things that you have, you absolutely can't feel the fear of failure and the stress and the negativity and the overwhelm. If you're focused and your awareness and your engagement is on the gratitude in your life, it eliminates that.
All right. Well, that makes sense too, and I love that idea of the gratitude.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, my wife's a school teacher, and I remember she basically was talking to one of her counterparts one time, and you know, young mother had some young children, and the other teacher told my wife, she said, you know, I make my children every day come up with 3 things that that they're thankful for every day.
Yeah.
And so my wife and I kind of try to start out every day like that. Okay, tell me again, what am I thankful for today?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that I've done instead of a journal is a jar. And I really like that because at the end of the year, so many of us on New Year's are beating ourselves up about the last year that just got over, and people are hoping the year will get over so they can start a new one because all this bad stuff happened this year, and then they start another year with New Year's resolutions, and then they fail at those, and then they're depressed again. So I've made them and given them to my clients, is a gratitude jar. And it's just a mason jar, and you label it pretty that says gratitude jar. And instead of writing in a journal, you write on a slip of paper, and you date it, and write down every day at least one thing, better if it's 2 or 3, that you're grateful for that day, and put it in the jar. And then on New Year's, instead of coming up with New Year's resolutions, open up the jar and read your papers.
Nice.
And they're dated. You can sit down with your family and read those slips of paper, and it's so uplifting to look at instead of the negative and the things that you haven't accomplished this year that you wish you had. Look at all the things you did.
Yep. Now, kind of as we come to a close, you know, you've got great tips and great advice, you know, for the person. And again, I go back to your presentation. But, you know, small business owners are consumed with that day-to-day, you know, problems of operating the business. Kind of as a close, kind of, you know, what techniques and thoughts would you recommend to a small business owner to focus on bringing out that inner superhero for them and their team members?
Oh, good. First of all, the small business owners that I know, a lot of them are trying to do it all, and that's bringing them a lot of stress.
Greg, that's you and Carol.
Yeah.
First off, one tip I would say is, in one of my other presentations that I do is the 5 steps to happiness, and one of the steps is acknowledge, accept, and applaud the fact that you are not perfect. You're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes. Don't beat yourself up. Accept it and applaud that. And then say yes to the things that bring you happiness in your work, but learn and give yourself permission to say no to the things that are bringing you the stress and the overwhelm. give yourself permission to be, do, and have whatever it is you desire in your business, but also give yourself permission to say no.
And that is a big point, the whole ability for a business person to say no, because you just
Absolutely.
you can't do it all, and you don't have all the time in the world.
That's right. That's right. And that comes back to my dad. My dad taught me a long, long time ago, you can do anything. You have the ability and the power to do anything, but you don't have to do everything. And in business, sometimes, especially when we're starting a small business, we feel like we have to say yes to everything, say yes to every job, every opportunity, say yes, say yes, say yes. But a lot of times when we do that, we're just bringing stress and overwhelm, and we get overbooked, and we're not sleeping, and we're not taking care of ourselves physically, and things go downhill. Yeah. There has to be a point where you learn and know for yourself what to say yes to and what to say no to.
And again, I remember now that you had said that about your father. Say that again, that he told you have the ability to do everything.
You can do anything.
You can do anything.
But you don't have to do everything.
That's a great line. Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to hang that on the wall. I'm making a poster.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You can do anything, but you don't have to do everything.
I just have to hope that my jar doesn't get recycled.
Hey, listen, Barbara, I really appreciate you taking time out this evening to talk to us here on Startup Talk. And it was.
I really appreciate the opportunity. This was fun.
Listen, tell us again real quickly, how could people get in touch with you? How can they find out what you do?
Yeah, my website is thesuperherospeaker.com, and if anyone wants to email me for that handout, it's barbara@thesuperherospeaker.com. And also check me out on Facebook, because I do a live show every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern called Superhero Live. And we do some really fun things on there, and we try to feature a superhero of the week every week.
Well, you need to get Greg on there then. Greg and Carol, superheroes.
Oh, yeah.
Barbara, thank you so much for this evening. It's been great, and enjoyed your presentation down in Fort Lauderdale, and best of luck.
Thank you so much, Tom.
We will stay in touch.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom.
Yes, ma'am. And with that, we'll bring to close another segment of Startup Talk. I want to thank our guests this evening, our cold brew coffee experts, Carol and Will. You'll see them next Thursday night at the Blackburn Center at our Shark Tank event. I want to thank Barbara Ann Cookson, the superhero speaker, and remind everyone that they can always find out more about what's going on in our program here at Indian River State College and all the business assistance and resource programs that we do by checking out that IRSCbiz.com. That's IRSCBIZ. And with that, thank our partners here at WPSL and Greg, and we will talk to you next Thursday on Startup Talk.
You betcha, from the Blackburn Center, huh? Live.
Got it.
You got it. This is Startup Talk from Indian River State College on WPSL Port St. Lucie, WSTU, Stewart.